Hello everyone, I'm Georgie Page, one of the registered nutritionists at Chartwells, and today I'm going to talk to you a little about food waste. Hopefully I can give you some handy tips and tricks that you can use to help reduce your waste and hopefully save yourself a little bit of money in the process. So let's begin. Now I'm sure you've all seen some of these horrendous pictures of all the waste that we throw in landfill every year, and do we think it's preventable? I definitely think it is, and there's definitely more that we can do at home. So first of all, I always say to people, try and plan your meals. Now I know life isn't as predictable as we hope, but you can kind of think about how many meals in the week that you need to make. So I know we always have great plans on a Monday and think, oh, we'll eat and cook healthy all week, and we might end up having a few takeaways. But hopefully, if we plan a little bit better, have a look online for some recipes that we love, then it might make it a little bit easier. So once we've planned those meals, try and write your shopping list, writing down all your ingredients. This will really help when you're in the supermarket, so you're not dashing about and throwing a load of different foods into the trolley, not really having a plan, which will end up you having too much food, you spent too much, and also some of that stuff might get wasted. Have a look around and look for the wonky sort of fruit and vegetables. So I'm sure you guys have heard about these before. But first of all, they're about half the price as their counterparts, but also they help you to reduce waste at farm level. As lots of farmers waste between 20 to 40% of their crop because it doesn't meet the standards that consumers want. So people still want a really perfectly straight carrot and a lovely straight cucumber, when really we should just be eating all these different shapes and sizes because they all taste the same, it's the same quality, it just doesn't look the same. So yeah, try and buy that wonky fruit and veg. And once you're in the supermarkets as well, you want to be looking at the packaging. So you want to be looking at the dates. Do you know the difference between the use by and the best before? So the use by is put on there, it's the date that you should eat the product by. If you can't eat it by that date, then you can freeze it, but after that date, it becomes risky to eat it. Whereas the best before date is different. It tells you when the quality is at its best, and then after that, it's not guaranteed. But it is still good to eat and it's still fit for human consumption. We can still use it in everything. And you'll see the best before date a lot on packaged food like pasta tins, but we see it on fresh fruit and vegetables as well. And people often get confused and throw their fresh fruit away. But you should be using your senses as well. So be using your sight. Does it look all right? Does it smell all right? Is the texture all right? And you can always chop off little bits that don't look right to eat, but use the rest. Also storing this food properly once you get home. So I'm going to talk on the next slide a little bit more about that, but it is really, really important how we store our food. And using the freezer as well. So using the freezer, if you have one, you might not, but the freezer can be your best friend when it comes to keeping your food fresh. Also saving your leftovers and loving them a little bit more, turning them into a different meal if you don't fancy it. And there's loads of stuff that you can do. So storage, so important. And we often overlook it. We kind of come home, we've done the whole food shop thing and we just bang it all in the fridge and hope for the best. Whereas some foods shouldn't be kept in the fridge. And some of those I only found out a few months ago are cucumber and tomatoes, so our staple food that we all seem to have. So the cold of the fridge actually affects the enzymes in the tomatoes, so they lose their flavour. And with cucumbers, the cold makes it go a bit watery, so they go off faster. So try and put those on the side or in a fruit bowl, and they'll last longer. Now we all know potatoes, they're thrown away a lot, and on average we throw away about 5.8 million potatoes every day in the UK, so that's a lot of potatoes. So we need to be keeping these in a dark place. An old wives' tale is to put an apple in with them to help them last longer. But also, if you see a few sprouts coming off a potato, you can chop those off. And once they get a bit longer and the potato goes soft, then that's when you would have to throw it away. Bananas are another massive wastage food in the UK. So 1.4 million bananas are thrown away every day in the UK. And these should be kept away from other foods because they make them ripen faster. But also try and keep your bananas in their bunch for as long as possible, because once you start breaking them all apart, then they ripen again faster. But please use brown bananas, put them in the freezer, use them in smoothies, put them in a banana bread. You know, there's tons of ways that you can use them now. Lemons and limes should be kept in the fridge. It helps them to last longer because we often put them in a fruit bowl or on the side. But they're great if you slice them up if you've got too many. Put them in a freezer bag, chuck them in the freezer, and then they're great in a G&T. Really good. Treat herbs like flowers. So you can see a picture there of some coriander in some water. This helps them to last longer. It also looks nice on your side, very pretty. Keeping mushrooms in a paper bag, so this helps the moisture to stay away from the mushrooms. The paper bag will absorb the moisture, because once mushrooms get wet, then they go kind of soggy and we don't want to use them. And that's the same with bag salad. So we throw away about 178 million bags of salad every year in the UK. It's so much. So putting a paper towel in the salad bag absorbs the water, so the salad will last longer. But I always recommend as well using things hardier lettuce like an iceberg, baby gem, romaine, and they last a little bit longer than the bags of spinach, bags of rocket, that sort of thing. And keeping bread in the freezer. So if you're living alone, you're a student, you're buying for yourself, you probably won't use a whole loaf of bread in a week. And so by the end of the week, the bread has gone mouldy and you throw it away. Whereas if you put the bread straight in the freezer, and you can get slices out as and when you need them, pop them in the toaster to defrost, and it works perfectly like that. And it saves a lot of waste because, again, we throw away 24 million slices of bread every single day in the UK. So it's a high wastage food. So if we can prevent that by using a freezer, amazing. Leftovers. So if you don't fancy your leftovers, maybe you've been eating spaghetti bolognese for 3 days, put it in a Tupperware, label it, freeze it. It can last up to 3 months. So it's there when next time you need it. Saves you cooking it again. And any odds or ends. So if you've got any vegetable scraps when you're peeling veg, you can put it in a freezer bag, pop it in your freezer, and you can make like a veggie stock for a soup, anything like that. Also blended into, I always make a kind of a soup at the end of the week, throwing in any bits that are left in the bottom of my fridge, chucking in some beans, and fried onion, and you've got a delicious soup. We've always got some sad apples or pears in the bottom of our fruit bowl that are going a bit funny. Again, these can be frozen. You can put them in an apple crumble. You can cook them with a bit of cinnamon and put it on top of your porridge. Also great in a smoothie as well. It's the same with leftover rice, meat, veggies, make a fried rice dish, stale bread, croutons, blitz them into breadcrumbs to make a katsu curry. Also, bread is really great in soups as well. So a lot of Italian cooking uses stale bread in soups to thicken it. So you can use that. So here I've got a couple of our leftover recipes that we use at Chartwells quite a lot. So again, the fried rice is an amazing dish. And also in Chinese cooking, they always use leftover rice for their fried rice dishes, because if you use freshly cooked rice, it just goes mushy. So it's actually a perfect use of leftover rice. Leftover fritters. So you'll all have heard of bubble and squeak that we use after a roast dinner, but this one's slightly different. You can use any grated vegetables that you have left over, broccoli, carrots, courgette, anything really. You can add a bit of feta cheese, cheddar cheese, flour, eggs, and you've got a delicious fritter. You can bake them or you can fry them in a pan, add a poached egg on top, and it's a really nice meal. And if you've got a bit of a sweet tooth, so with bananas, you know, you can make banana bread, banana pancakes, but the new craze is a vegan ice cream using frozen bananas. So when your bananas are quite ripe, they have to be really ripe so they're sweet. Chop them up, put them in a freezer bag. Once they're frozen, blend them. You can use a bit of cocoa powder, a bit of milk, and you've got a delicious frozen banana ice cream that's healthier than normal ice cream. And you can make jam as well in the microwave if you've got some leftover berries. I think you can also do it with apple. So microwave it with a bit of corn flour. I usually add a tiny bit of honey, and you've got a delicious jam that you can put on your toast in the morning or in your porridge. So I've just ran through all of that stuff, but I hope you can pick up a few tips and tricks that you might do to keep your food fresher for longer, and also using up those leftovers and not throwing them in the bin. So I hope you find that helpful, guys, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.